It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
We'll analyze the scene.
Sounds holly jolly to me.
Before it's over, let's begin.
Bum.
Bum.
Beautiful. That's right, folks. Since the Christmas season is upon us, we thought the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
Six to be exact, selected and arranged for your Yuletide pleasure.
So, silver up those bells, light the multicolored lights, and go out and build a snowman as we engage in some seasonal shenanigans.
Yeah.
Woo!
Okay, folks, so as you probably guessed, we're starting things off with Red One as our number one shenanigans this year.
Number one.
Make it so, number one. That's right. Yeah, so Red One, it was a recent release. Oddly, not in December, but coincidentally, it will be on streaming tomorrow. So if anyone hasn't seen this, not see it in theaters, I wouldn't recommend watching this first. But if you do, and you're very kind of carefree about spoilers, you could listen to this and then watch the movie tomorrow. So yeah, options. So I guess reflecting on Red One, so I was hyped for this since last year. It was announced last year. Because one, I love J.K. Simmons Santa Claus because of Klaus,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm always down for some Chris Evans. So the strike delaying this really bummed me out. Last year. And so this movie's always in the back of my mind. So when I heard, it was like, oh god, it's finally happening, and it's happening this year. So I was able to see it. I was definitely seeing it in the theaters again. I was surprised that it was not streaming, but initially, like, per the release. But I saw it in theaters, and had a good time with it. But I will say this: feels like we could have improved on a few things.
Mm-hmm.
I know people aren't quite loving the movie, but and I can see a little bit of why. But I think I think it was pretty solid. I think based on some people's reaction to trailers, some people really like the trailers. My neck of the woods, a lot of people were very down the trailers, and I rather liked it. I think the stuff that was beyond the trailers, maybe we kind of wavered in the plot department, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
What say you, Peregrine?
Yeah, I grade Christmas on a curve when it comes to movies. I never go in with the same criteria that I would a standard, normal, not holiday movie. Just because I love Christmas. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
Um, so I would not like if you're looking at this from a end of year. Here are all the movies I've seen. I've seen 300 and whatever movies this year. This does not rank very high amongst them. But at the same time, for the Christmas movies, it's in my top five from this year. Um, so I gave it 3 stars, so a 6 out of 10. And I think that's exactly what you need for a Christmas movie. It's fun, it's kind of dumb. You get that holiday humor. The stars are charismatic and enjoyable. The CGI, I know a lot of people said it looks bad. I didn't think it looked as atrocious as some of the stuff we've gotten in the past and recently. So yeah, I thought it was a good time that I could see a lot of people really enjoying, especially once it comes to streaming.
Yeah, so I want to dip into the background on this a little bit.
Hmm.
So apparently the idea for this was from the Rocks production company. I think it's called $7,
Yeah.
but spelled anyway. So yeah, so I think one of the writers from his production company pitched this, Hiram Garcia or something, and then it was kind of adapted by a guy named Chris Moran who did Wanted and Shazam 2 and everything.
Mm.
Again, Shazam 2, the movie The Rock should have been in but wasn't.
The one that killed Zachary Levi's career.
Sadly, yes. Anyway, so Yeah, so it kind of adapted there, and primarily, we had Jake Kasdan directing this, and Jake Kasdan, he's worked with The Rock before. He is, he was the guy behind the Jumanji movies.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, also the son of Lawrence Kasdan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I think I forget if Kaz. I forget if he co-wrote one of the drafts of Solo with him or not. But I think Kasdan was involved. He's done projects with his father before. I think.
Hmm.
Anyway, so we had Henry Jackman working on the score on this. So a little Captain America Winter Soldier reunion there to some degree. There's not really a lot I can tell you about this one. Just it's very much kind of the standard Christmas fare. They shoot in Atlanta, and you kind of make it look like all parts of the globe, as they tend to do with Atlanta.
Yep.
And I already kind of mentioned the strike thing. That was the biggest thing about this movie was delayed due to the strike and the Rock's on-set behavior. But let's not
Right.
go there. The point being, it was delayed due to the strike, and they opted for the. It sounds like they opted for the theatrical release. Now I don't know if that was always. It sounds like that was there's going to be a limited release plan. Then it would be on streaming, which. Given the performance of this movie, I don't know how much of that was intentional versus how much of that is like, yeah, we really wanted this to perform better, but they didn't count on Wicked.
Right. Also, 250 million is a lot to try to recoup.
Well, here's the other thing too. Okay, two things. One, CGI polar bears are expensive.
Right.
Secondly, the Christmas movie, very, very tragically, is a dying breed, especially theatrically. Right now, the
Right.
Christmas movie is released almost exclusively on streaming. Rarely will you have a theatrical release Christmas movie that does well, and half the time when you release the Christmas movie, you can never get like the prime like December spot because all the other movies demand December.
Right.
So it's sadly it had a really high budget, which probably didn't need to go that high, and it flopped hard. It did not do well financially. That didn't make even the baseline budget back. It didn't make 200 million back. It was like under. I think currently it's like tracking at maybe. And again, well, tomorrow will be the end of it. I think it's tracking at. I think it tracked at maybe like 160 or 140 or 160 something million.
Yeah, it was in the top 5 last week for or last weekend for the box office. I think it was sitting at like number 4. So some people caught it, but not nearly enough.
Yep. All right. So all that said, let's just break it down. Let's get things started. So to get things started, I guess maybe the opening.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting. We have two openings in this movie, you could say, and I think the first opening is not as great as the second opening, but I respect the first opening. So basically, we have young Jack O'Malley. We see him kind of lose the Christmas spirit, lose the Christmas magic as a kid, where he's crafty and he finds the Christmas presents being all hidden and everything. And I think that's a decent bookend to things. The whole both of our characters had a loss of Christmas spirit, and one loses at the top, and one regains it by the end. Well, they both regain it by the end, so I think in that respect, it's kind of a nice bookend. But it doesn't come close to the mall scene, which is like the best part of the whole movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, did you love the mall scene as much as I did?
That was my favorite scene, and I wish it had been that for the entire movie.
So overall, and I'm with you. So overall, it feels like if I were to extrapolate kind of our buzz on this, I would say Act One of this movie is the strongest aspect of the film, and you kind of wish the majority of the movie was that movie that we were kind of given in Act One.
Right. Yeah.
Bare minimum, the mall scene. The mall scene again. If I can just isolate one scene that I wanted and I love most, I'm with you. It's the mall scene because one, I get what I was promised. J.K. Simmons as a really good Santa Claus. That is not the same. It's not just Klaus again. It's something different and it's something cool. It's kind of a modern J.K. Simmons. He's serious but nonchalant about this job that he takes very seriously, and it gives you the sense this is a Santa who's been around and does his again. This the fun mundanity of he does his own dirty work essentially. He's going to be the mall Santa, or at least he's one of many mall Santas. He's a Santa of the people, and I love that.
Yeah, I would have loved. I think my biggest issue with the movie is how little of that we got. Like I would have loved a hopeful Santa who believes in Christmas and children and loves them all, playing against either The Rock or Chris Evans or both. But I feel like we didn't get enough of that, and it really set up like this is going to be one of the better Santas we've gotten in recent years, and then they kind of dropped the ball on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's I mean again the premise that we have just in the mall scene itself. So we have kind of our really cool take on Santa plus his hulking elf bodyguard. You know, who again who's very who cares. I think it's important that we like Santa this much so you understand why the hulking elf bodyguard cares about guarding him so much and takes his job so seriously because it's like it's like it's like Dean and Sam Winchester in the Scooby Gang. They take a bullet for that dog. You have to understand why The Rock would take a bullet for Santa Claus.
Right.
And I think we hit those beats very well, and it's very humorous. It's very fun. Just we see J.K. Simmons as Santa, kind of interacting with the kids in a very refreshing, very fun, very naturally kind of cool way. And we also address the modern kind of naughty and nice of it all. Here we have the naughtiest things ever. Influencers come up and try and kind of skip past the line. It's just priceless. You have this giant, like The Rock, basically your bodyguard and Santa there saying, "Hey, there's a line." He's very stringent about the rules and protecting the experience of the children. It's like, yeah, I love that. And again, I just love the mundane. They're walking around the mall, as we're treating Santa Claus like we would the president or a dignitary or something. Where
Mhm.
we have it feels like the opening of like White House Down or something. They're going on the escalator and like Santa Claus getting free churros, but he's checking the churro before he gives it to them. That's great.
That's almost the movie I wish we got is White
Yes.
House Down in the North Pole.
Yeah, it's like what if we took like the fake opening of Scrooge? What if we took like
Hmm.
the Santa's Village, Lee Majors, special, and did that. Which here's the thing: I'm a sucker for an action Santa movie. I really am. I'm not.
Hmm.
It stems from the weirdest of all places. Stems from Fairly Odd Parents. The Fairly Odd Parents Christmas episode where you had kind of Santa in an action situation always kind of captured my imagination. I always loved that concept. And then of course years later, we get Violent Night, which is like the zenith of like, okay, Santa Claus in an action, Santa Claus in Die Hard.
Right.
So I know I wasn't expecting us to go full tilt there. However, we do see this is a very jacked, very in shape Santa. Now, initially you'd think maybe the Santa ready for some action, but realistically though, a Santa who again is literally going through all the houses and he's delivering all the gifts. He would have to be in really good shape to do it all in one night. Like he's training for one night a year, and you kind of believe it looking at the guy.
Hmm.
Yeah, like he's if he's carbo loading, that's if he's eating the milk and cookies and everything, that's again to burn that into muscle.
Right. I liked how he was like, I burn this many calories. It's like, yeah, no, I guess you would.
Yeah,
That's why you're eating all those
it's a
all those
really
cookies.
so our world building is true. I think our world building, the North Pole, all that works. In fact, Santa's a bodyguard. All of this is top tier. All this is great. This is like why you go to see the movie.
Hmm.
And I understand. And then we get into the reminder that the whole movie is that we're looking for Santa Claus, which means we're probably not going to get a lot of J.K. Simmons. And that realization kind of creeps on you. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, this is the best part of the movie. Like, why are we?
Also, let's show Mrs. Claus some love. Bonnie Hunt, very solid, very down to earth Mrs. Claus.
Hmm.
So I mean, I guess also too, I really do like the idea that okay, the bodyguard's gotten disenfranchised with how the world is today and how that somewhat ties into our plot. Like that's I'm on board for that. I'm on board for our premise and like the essentially the littlest, the non-littlest elf, kind of going on this arc of going on this arc of kind of refinding his Christmas spirit in the pursuit of Santa Claus and being paired in a buddy movie situation with the ultimate skeptic. Like I think that's a really good premise. But again, we got to check back in more with Santa aside from using him as a freaking battery.
Right. Yeah, I also think like the the dynamic of having two people who just aren't in the Christmas mood. I feel like one of those characters should have been like I feel like I get the elf wanting to be like all right, I'm retiring. I'm done with this. But I felt that having The Rock and Chris Evans both be kind of Scrooge type.
I
They,
I honestly expected, and I did not fully get this. I'm sorry, Perry, I'm cutting off your
no,
point.
you're good. Y-
I
Yeah, I
I
just didn't think they both should have been that way. But yeah, go ahead.
I concur with you. It
Hmm.
feels like initially I was expecting The Rock just to take Christmas very seriously, and that he likes Christmas, but he takes it dead seriously, which
Right.
still I think could have been funny. And we got that in places, but overall though, he got it more in terms of like procedure versus like he does actually really like Christmas, and you get a sense that there a little bit of that is there, but he's very disenfranchised.
Right. Yeah, I would have rather him be like Chris Evans makes a joke about like I don't know tinsel or whatever, and The Rock goes like tinsel's a serious topic, blah blah blah.
I
You
mean,
know, like
again, it's frustrating because we do essentially get that, but you're not really. It just feels like he's too stoic.
yeah, he's too The Rock. I would have rather more the Jumanji The Rock than Fast and the Furious The Rock, and I feel
That's
like we got
that's that's the thing. Sadly, The Rock has two modes these days. You have like Jumanji seems to be the only place he's able to really stretch his muscles. That and voiceover with Maui, but again, he's clinging to Maui rather desperately these days.
hmm
But aside from that, that's not a barb or anything. I'm just saying the fact we're doing it in live action too is like he's taking it really. Like, I am Maui. Like okay,
yeah,
put on the wig for Maui. You won't put it on for Black Adam, but sure. Which still bothers me, by the way. He treats Black Adam like it was his Deadpool role, and he really didn't care about it at the end of the day.
the hierarchy of Christmas is about to change.
Yes. Anyway, so The Rock, he very much he's I would say I don't think he's fully on autopilot, but he's in the danger. He's kind of he's walking the tightrope of like The Rock on autopilot between those two modes here.
Yeah, he had his moments, but he also had moments of just being like, "Oh, The Rock doesn't really want to be here today."
Yeah, and the sounds of things, we couldn't be bothered to show up on time.
Or pee in a bathroom.
Well, that too, but yeah. Doesn't
He's
say,
in
well, you know what? I was really late. I didn't want to delay things any further. Sue
right.
me.
It's solidarity with the Amazon warehouse workers.
There you go. Well, it was an Amazon
It
production.
wasn't, yeah. It was really a political stunt.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So, let's see. So flip side of all this, Jack O'Malley. So entertaining con man hacker here. You know what I love most about Jack O'Malley?
That it's Chris Evans.
Well, second to that. Okay. What I love most about what Evans did with this guy, it reminded me a lot of like this off the reservation Christmas movie that I have a lot of fondness, a lot of nostalgia for. "'Twas the Night"
hmm
with Bryan Cranston, and yeah. So Bryan Cranston in that movie, he basically played. It's basically what if Cranston stole Christmas. That's essentially what that movie is. It's him playing also a hacker, mind you, like a hacker kind of computer guy who gets in deep. He gets in debt with the people that he's done shady things for, and he basically ends up Santa he basically steals Christmas like the Grinch, going to Santa Claus, and there's shrinking technology in that movie, and I always loved the kind of world building of "Twas the Night." Anyway, so I did get some vibes of that here. Like, okay, we're gonna put this guy in a Christmas situation. He's very little some vague similarities that I think just kind of tickled me on some level.
hmm
So, yeah, so he swipes the credentials of the lady and basically uses it to basically kind of it's like a Rube Goldberg kind of domino effect where he does one thing, it causes a chain reaction. He's able just to sneak into like this like kind of a it's kind of like a it's kind of like an astrology kind of not astrology. It's kind of like it's kind of like an astronomer's place. It's kind of like a place where I think it has access to a satellite somewhere. It's like some sort of satellite
hmm
relay station of some kind. Anyway, so he's basically able to he's able to find a location in the Arctic, which he does not know is the North Pole. Because why
Yeah,
would he?
I feel like if I was a hacker and I found a weird blip in the Arctic, that would kind of be my first go-to. Be like, oh, that's Santa's place.
Well, again, he's not going to think it's real though.
That's true. I've seen enough Christmas movies to know that it is, though.
He's gonna think some John Carpenter stuff's going on out there. He's not gonna think that it's gonna be some guy in an overcoat.
I want to see that movie too. Santa Claus is the thing.
Oh god, yeah, there's something for you. Wouldn't that be a remake? I mean, I heard that Terrifier movie did really well.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Oh, what if it was like the Coca-Cola Santa too?
Yeah.
Anyway, so anyways, let's see. Oh, the thing was the South Pole. Okay, well, wait, way
Yeah,
to ruin
it
our
switches
seasonal
poles.
fun. Yeah, way
Yeah.
to ruin our seasonal fun, Jacob.
Yeah. The South Pole's basically the North Pole, but if south. So like.
John Carpenter needs work, Jacob.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that about him. Okay, he had one holiday, we never gave him the other one, so okay, imagine John Carpenter's Easter. There's a real question for you. All right. Okay, so the point being, he gets his big payday, and then he instantly bets it all away, and he loses it. So it's very much a wash. So Jack's, he kind of has some. Again, he had like half of his payment. He's lacking the other half, so he's in debt yet again. His home life, he's divorcee, but I love that I love these little touches. He's not bitterly divorced, There you go. Yeah, he's not bitterly divorced. He's on good terms with Mary Elizabeth Ellis's. I think it's Olivia, her character, and they have a kid together, and the kid likes him. But I will admit though, the kid having this whole thing like, oh yeah, don't go to the stupid talent show. Well, what's he
Yeah.
gonna do? Like, I'm not gonna go to the stupid talent show.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was a little contrived with the kid.
little bit.
It's
Yeah,
a Christmas movie. I expect that.
yeah.
Elf was contrived with the kid. The Santa Claus is contrived with the kid.
Okay, come on. The Santa Claus needed the kid for the
Oh
whole.
yeah, it
Okay,
did,
the
but
kid,
it's
the
just
kid.
very much contrived plot.
Yeah.
The only Christmas movie that isn't is Christmas Vacation. Those kids are they're just there for the ride.
Yep. Anyway, let's see. So Dylan is crafty like his old man, and he's the old man's very supportive of it. But you get a sense that I love the misnomer that he's distanced himself from the kid in order to kind of like spare him being a terrible father. So he's very nonchalant about it. Yeah, I'm a terrible father. I know I am. That's why I'm keeping my distance here. So no, I'm not going to take part in his life. I mean, if you really need me, I'll be there. But
Right.
All right. So Santa Claus is kidnapped. Now this is a very impressive chase sequence through Santa's village, and as I'm saying, this is a great capper Act One.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a good little action moment. The bad guys had a good plan. They
Yeah,
used a diversion, and that tricks the Rock.
it is a little easy that it's always like the one time Callum is away from Santa Claus. This
Yeah,
happens like the one time he's with him. Every other time they
they
have like a little moment. It's like, why is he not with him in this one
they
moment?
should have had like an inside man. Like the polar bear should have been a turncoat.
Yeah.
Should have been like, yeah, I did it the whole time.
Yep. Well, if that was the case, we'd have to recast the polar bear with Frank Grillo. All right. So I do love the bait and switch there. I love that he actually catches up with like the tank like snowmobile, and then it was all contingency. It was all diversion, like you said.
Hmm.
All right. So similarly, Jack is captured, but he has a really he's a really impressive pursuit there. We have like the little kind of the sleeping taser thing.
Yeah, and he beats them all up.
Yep. Well, he doesn't like aggressively beat him up. They kind of beat, he kind of, he stuns them all. But again, in retrospect, you have to wonder. This is like kind of the Christmas movie logic of like, in hindsight, they could have just sent Zoe, the Lucy Liu character, to the door to then just stun him, like, oh hey, it's me, and then stun him,
Right.
like she ultimately did after he evaded all that capture, and they really lucked out. Okay, he's going to end up at this one specific door. It's like she could have just showed up at his front door. Like he's not going to suspect. Like it's just going to be some some interesting looking woman at the door.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hey, is that Charlie's Angel? And boom.
is that Joan Watson from Elementary? Last time I saw that woman in a movie, she was missing a scalp. Anyway, it was snowing, counts. All right, so Lucy Liu, so Zoe is part of Mora. Now Mora was interesting ideas. Mora essentially is the mythological oversight restoration authority.
Yeah, I could see that being a fun workplace comedy on CBS.
Could you now?
Yeah, that would be the next The Office is just like The Office meets the X-Files. Give us that. That would be fun.
See, had we approached things a little differently, I think Damage Control really could have been that show.
Yeah.
Of course, the way we're going with Damage Control, I don't think we can do that based on Miss Marvel. But besides,
Hmm.
anyway, so Mora basically the easy comparison, the shorthand for Mora is it's Men in Black with mythology.
Right. They got the headless horseman in there. And they had Bigfoot, I think, right?
Well, we mentioned a lot of people. I don't know if we saw
Yeah.
Bigfoot, but they mention them and everything. So say it's just a branch of the government that handles myths and legends and everything. It's we demonstrate this with the usual suspects with the headless horseman. Let's see, we have Garcia, the polar bear, who again it's an awesome giant polar bear. Let's be frank, it's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
You tell me you didn't want to see him like on a break or something, like drinking a Coke though.
That would have been good product placement.
God. It would have been probably cheesy as all get out.
Oh
But
yeah.
either that or if you had a gag where he had the bottle and he broke it over someone's head, maybe.
Again, the polar bear should have been either A turncloak, or B, played by The Rock. And just The Rock is a polar bear the whole time.
God.
In makeup like Krampus, though, not CGI. I want to see The Rock with just like terrible country bear movie makeup.
Well, we'd have to kill a poor polar bear to make that happen.
You know,
Anyway,
whatever it takes to make a good Christmas movie.
really, we're gonna
For the
slay a polar bear. We're gonna break the Coke. We're gonna break the Coke bottle and stab the polar bear and just turn him into a costume for the Rock's ego. That's really what you want to do.
The Rock's done worse, I feel.
Okay, what's the worst thing that he's done?
I don't know. Probably not kill a polar bear.
There you go.
Can find a fake one, or go to the museum, get one of the taxidermy ones. I'm sure Amazon sells polar bear costumes.
Well, not for those purposes. Anyway, we have Callum Drift, the serious magical elf, paired with the Christmas skeptic, and we're gonna pay Jack O'Malley his fee. He's gonna help us find Santa Claus, and we're off to the races. So Act 2 officially. This is Act 2 onwards where things get bumpy, I would say. Now we have a few good ideas sprinkled in there, like the toy store is like the Nexus travel warp zone point thing. Like that's cool, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, again, with all the stuff connected to the world building, like you go to the toy store, we have the shrinking tech, so we get toys and we can make them giant and very useful. Using Drift's arm guard. Now, by the way, a few things. One, I love wrist-mounted technology, so I really did like the arm guard thing. So I love
Big Ben
that.
10 guy over here.
Yeah, not like the last two versions, but the first, like Ben 10 and on Alien Force slash, Ultimate Alien, like not the revamp.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, so there's so in general, I love wrist-mounted weaponry, wrist-mounted technology. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
So two, again, the shrinking tech reminds me of Twas the Night, which, of course, with Twas the Night, the way Santa operated there, for those who haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus. I'd recommend people check it out if you want something kind of nostalgic. Way it worked is Santa Claus had this little device, this little Christmas bulb that had a few buttons on it. What the buttons did is it froze time, it shrunk and unshrunk the presents, and could basically turn him into pixels and send him. This is where we get into the very dated part of it. You basically turn into pixels and basically that's how he went up the chimney and back into the sled. He could teleport essentially from the living room to the sled. And the best part of it was No kids got coal. What they got instead were lame gifts, which I thought was hysterical. So that's the thing. If you were naughty, you would get like an ant farm.
That'd be a fun gift, though.
Well,
I
that's the
would.
thing. I guess it stands the reason per the kid, but that was like one of the examples in the movie. Get an ant farm or like an old like disco cassette tape, stuff like that.
Uh huh. Things kids were really clamoring for.
Yeah, versus what they really wanted. So the fact is, what I loved about that kind of thing is there was a logic to how the heck can Santa do this all in one night? And that was like the technological, me being the gadget nut that I am. That was like that's a really logical explanation for how Santa Claus could possibly do. If he can freeze time, no wonder he could do it. And he can make it easy on himself. He's one bag with all the gifts in it.
Right.
That they're all shrunken and tiny. And then of course the third big takeaway from all this, shades of Ant-Man. I love Ant-Man, so that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So again, all the world building here. This is great. We collect weapons and tools from the toy store, like the Rock'em Sock'em robots and the Hot Wheels. Not Wonder Woman though; she wasn't in the budget, but did work with the Rock though. In another movie, Red in the title, Red Notice.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I really wish we used the toy thing more in this movie. Don't you?
Yeah. It was an interesting concept, and it should have been done more than just like getting cars. Like it kind of became a little stale. I would have liked to see some references. Amazon's got money. They could have pulled out a toy lightsaber or a
Well, they had money. They blew it all though. They used it on the wrong
right.
things.
Yeah, they paid
Like the
too
third
much to
act.
The
If we
Rock.
trimmed down the CG in the third act, we would have been able to have more toys.
Yeah, like imagine like the,
Slinky.
yeah, Chris Evans grabs like Captain America's shield.
God, yes. I mean, that one they probably wouldn't be able to do, but that'd be
No,
great though.
or like something that very much looks like it.
No, here's
um,
what you do. He sleds down. He grabs something and he grabs a sled, like a circular sled, and he uses a shield
uh-huh.
temporarily. And then he slides down.
Right. Or like even like other stuff that like just toys. Amazon's got like all kinds of shows
Like
going
think
on.
about it: Slinky, Silly Putty.
Right. Yeah, you could have done a lot of fun stuff. Even like a ping pong paddle. It's like whack
Sure.
some people with a giant ping pong paddle.
God.
But
No,
yeah,
and here's the thing: like you hit you hit the ball during the serve. The
Monopoly, and
cannonball.
they just Monopoly, and you just trap him in a endless game.
Well, I was thinking more like you trap him in a thimble, a giant thimble.
Yeah, but yeah, they kind of just did cars. Is all they did, and then
Yeah.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots that one time.
Which again was the coolest part of the movie. Honestly,
Right.
use the rock and second roads, but yeah. Okay, so we go to Aruba. Kind of this a beach on Aruba. They find the broker of the clandestine, kind of Santa kidnapping.
Yep. Played by the guy from Big Mouth.
Yeah, so I gotta admit, no, this is nothing personal against Nick Kroll, but I don't think I don't think Nick Kroll was needed in this Christmas movie.
No, I don't think Nick Kroll. I like Nick Kroll enough. I don't think Nick Kroll is needed in many things that he shows up in.
That's it. Look, Captain Underpants needed. Okay, fair
Hmm.
point. Needed as that character. We don't need Nick Kroll. I feels like Nick Kroll's only in this movie because they wanted to do the possession gag, which like okay, we're gonna Nick Kroll do a stupid voice. That's what it feels like.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I have no idea why Nick Kroll's in there in terms of he's we're gonna get any other comedian in this role. Let's get Bill Burr in this.
Mm.
Plus, he gets frozen. What more appropriate name could he have?
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, Saint
Oh,
Nick.
God, Saint Nick Kroll.
No, you just pitched a movie. Don't do that, Jacob. They're gonna make that now.
Yeah.
Nick Kroll's Bad Santa. It's gonna happen.
Oh, don't. We don't need to remake that. We already
coming
botched the sequel.
coming 2027. Nick Kroll in Bad Santa.
No, he's in Worse Santa.
Worst Santa.
Or The Worst
Yeah,
Santa.
terrible, absolutely garbage Santa.
The really bad Santa.
This Santa fucking sucks.
The not so good Santa.
Yeah, that's the movie. I look
The
forward to it.
Well, there's the sucky Santa, but I think that'd be a different genre of film. But anyway.
Yeah, that one's not going to be talked about in the theaters.
No. Anyway, so after a very trippy fight with a fun-sized Dwayne Johnson, that was the heady effect right there in terms of like the CG. Like we kind of shrunk him and to kind of dwarf size as he's like punching guys. It's like
Right.
it's heady. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's kind of hard to process. Like wow, I mean, it makes sense, but that's like something we can't do with Ant-Man. But we turned him into like
We turned him into comic accurate Wolverine.
yeah, pretty much. It's short. It's short King Rock.
It's what The Rock really looks like when he's not wearing stilts.
Yeah, there you go.
Nobody knows that. That's a little insider secret. The
Well,
Rock's just a little guy.
No, the Rock is like that. The Archelian prince in Men in Black. He's there's just it's kind of like a mix between that character from Men in Black and the movie Meet Dave. Or there's a bunch of people inside the Rock, including his buddy Kevin Hart. So
Right,
Kevin Hart's
he does pilot the Rock sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes not in the movies that he's starring with him, but in the movies that he's not there. Kevin Hart's always on set. He's just piloting the Rock. Rock's like he's practically like an artificial.
Right, he's just a being. He's not really.
Like no Samoan is that jacked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all Kevin Hart's doing. He's genetically engineered one.
Yeah. So you see, if we shave Jason Momoa, he would secretly be the Rock. Anyway, so in all seriousness,
that was seriousness, by the way. We're just more seriousness.
All right. So after this, we get a name out of the broker, and it's Gryla, the Christmas witch. So here's something that bothers me. Okay, so I think the thing that does the most damage to this movie is we used. Okay, I guess. Sorry, one. It's really. It's like we use like the lamest part of the Santa mythology in this movie. Gryla the Christmas witch. No one ever talks about the Christmas witch. No one knows who Here's the only last time I saw the Christmas witch, and I still wasn't good, was in the terrible Tim Allen Santa Claus revival series. The Santa Clauses. One.
That one I didn't even bother with.
Don't.
So I'd never even heard of Gryla before this.
That's the only reason I knew when they said Gryla the Christmas witch. Oh yeah, I've seen her. Like that's the only time I've ever seen I didn't know there was like a Christmas witch in the Santa mythology, in the Christmas mythology, until that series. And I regret knowing that. And now I'm here now. It's like really the Christmas witch is our bad guy, really. So first, it's like one, it's like why this? Like the lamest idea in the Santa mythology. Two, it feels really cheap. The cast of all people, Kiernan Shipka,
the witch,
as the witch, who of course very famously plays Sabrina, the teenage witch, in kind of the basically Riverdale inspired, kind of dark black magic Netflix version of Sabrina, the teenage witch.
Mm-hmm.
And third, the way we play her. I want to be clear, Kiernan Shipka, good actress, nothing wrong there with her inherently, but in casting her, we're playing her so uninterestingly and flat.
Yeah, she's just like a girl.
And it's like the thing of like, I'm saving Christmas. It's like, well, you're sucking Santa dry in like a little vacuum chamber there. That's not it's not really like if he's Christmas, you're kind of torturing Christmas. So
I think you watched a different movie, the one where Kieran Shipka's sucking Santa dry.
Oh come on, not Pergron.
I had to. It was there. You laid that up for me.
Pergron, it's Christmas.
Giving Santa a little gift.
See, he's going on the naughty list, kids. I don't know what to tell you.
The whole time.
If Tiki wasn't playing Scrooge, okay. Anyway, and also
she's training his magical powers. Yes.
Okay, in all seriousness, what do you think about how her performance there? She's very bland, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I like Kiernan Shipka too.
Yeah,
She was in that came out last month, a romantic comedy on Max that I quite enjoyed,
yeah, I heard about.
Sweethearts.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And I like her, and she did a some coming of age movie last year. She's very good in like the small kind of bit parts.
You know the bit,
Um,
the role. I wonder if you know her from this too. I first saw her in Mad Men.
yep, I forgot she was in Mad Men.
Played Don Draper's daughter in Mad
Yep,
Men.
she did.
I'm trying to remember if it was Sally or not. I think. Yeah. Wait. Ah, crap. Never mind. I can't recall. But
Yeah,
because I
but
know
yeah,
I know his wife's nickname. Her nickname was Birdie. I think her actual name might have been Sally, but I think the daughter's name was Sally. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Point being, Don Draper's daughter. Continue.
yeah. So I think she's a good actress, especially in like little kind of not indie movies, but kind of indie-ish movies, smaller movies. Here she did absolutely nothing for me. She was playing to the one thing about this movie, just in general, kind of going along with her. I don't know who the fuck this movie was for. Like, it was a kid Santa movie. It was rated PG-13, which for a Santa movie feels a little odd.
Wait,
There
really? I
were
didn't know it was rated
Yeah, this
PG-13.
is a
Was it?
PG-13 movie.
How did? Why?
Yeah, they had some swear words in it. And they had a lot of ass shots. They had way more ass shots than I thought there would be.
What doesn't count?
No, no, I mean they just did. Like there were
Well, what do
kids in
you
the
mean?
movie.
There's like one
No, on the
bikini.
beach. On the beach there were a
But
lot.
that's bikinis,
No,
though.
and it's fine. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I don't know who this
But
movie
how is
was
that
for.
get a PG-13 though?
No, it was that and swearing and just like I don't know. But I had parents in the theater that I was in covering their kids' eyes on the beach scene. It was really funny.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You saw
I mean,
actual eye covering in
I
this day
did.
and age?
In this day and age I did. But yeah, it this somehow got a PG-13. Um, but yeah, I don't really know who this movie was for. Like, um,
I'm gonna guess people 13 and over.
I guess so. But yeah, like
Surprising.
I can't imagine adults really going in by themselves for the most part. It's too kiddie for that, but it's a little too adult for like little kids who are the prime target for most Christmas movies. And I think Kiernan Shipka kind of fell into the mess of she was playing very much like a family Christmas movie role, and it didn't. I don't know. It just felt a little off from the rest of the movie, which was a little bit not adult. It's not adult, but a little bit older kid focused.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the whole like the teens coming out of the magic or something might be kind of maybe the demographic.
Maybe. I
That's
don't know. I think
possible.
that's one of the reasons it kind of flopped is it didn't know what it was going for.
No, that
Because
sounds right.
it could have been like a fun PG-13 action movie, or it could have been like a fun family action movie, or it could have been a hard R Dwayne Johnson led Christmas movie. But it kind of doesn't know what it wants to be, and the performances were all over the place.
Hmm.
Like Kiernan Shipka to me felt like she was in a rated G made for TV Christmas movie on ABC Family.
She's playing very by the nose. By the way, I just remembered what it was. The mother was Betty Draper. She was Sally Draper. Continue.
Lucy Liu was getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
She was not very good in this movie at all. Dwayne Johnson was thinking this was like the next coming of Jesus. And so like they were kind of all over the place. And
I'd
I,
like to
I
think Evans had a level head about it. I'd like to think Evans was, like him. He's like, I get to work with Kazdan. I love
yeah,
Star Wars as much as the next guy.
he felt like he was having fun for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, Evans is also really he'll do anything if it's a good time.
Hmm. Which is, he
It's
knew it was.
commendable.
I think he was kind of the only one who knew what this was, and he was hamming it up a little bit,
Also,
making
he's worked with J.K. Simmons before, so maybe in
right.
part, like I think maybe he was maybe led to think, hey, movie J.K. Simmons, and then ultimately,
Hmm.
yeah. But then I agree with you. It does feel there's a lack of identity, and I think our villain plot, I think our villain plot in large part is kind of a signifier of that. But again, our style and substance here. We have an awesome snowman fight, which again is a highlight of the film. We had a really
Hmm.
cool like snowman fight on the beach. I love how the nose is the weakness, like that. That was really cool.
Right.
Yeah. And then later, of course, Gryla's ex, Krampus.
I am glad that they didn't make Krampus the main villain. That feels a little generic.
That generic or not though, it does feel like Krampus would have been better than Gryla
I
though.
mean, better than Gryla, yeah.
But
But
that's the thing. I mean, honestly, it feels like we don't really need like a villain. But if we
it should
did, I
have just
mean,
been the U.S. government kidnapping Santa. They want to take him down because he's doing communism, bringing gifts to kids.
I don't think that's communism.
That's why it's called Red One.
I don't think so.
They don't like distribution of things, so the government captures him, and the polar bear was in on it. I
Don't
just
think that's how that works.
I just wrote Red One too.
Yeah, that's what they're going to call it. Red 1-2.
Red One Two.
Yeah, because that's not going to confuse anyone. Like, so it's Red 12? No, it's Red 1
Oh, it's
2.
Red 1 2. Get it right.
It's a Red 12. It's like an Abbott Costello routine.
It's Red 1, comma
So,
2.
so Perry, what movie do you want to see today? Red 1-2. So Red 12. No, Red
No,
one
Red
2.
1 2.
Wait, so you want to see Red 1 as well? Like, no, Red 1-2. That's what I just said.
Red 1 exponent 2.
Don't throw math at me, Paragon. God.
Red 3. Yeah, 1 plus 2. We just skipped the second one. But yeah, I think Krampus was good. I like that it was all practical, or mostly practical.
That being essentially a practical effect, the practical makeup effect was awesome.
Yeah, it's Christopher. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the last name, but it's Tormund from Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like when he pops up in things.
We
Game
have
of
the
Thrones
game of
season 8 sucked, but Tormund remained consistently fun.
Speaking of games, we have the fun and chaotic game of Krampus Schlop.
Yeah, and that the moment was fun where like you saw Chris Evans stewing and he's like thinking. I don't know that a hacker would have really come up with that. I feel like this movie didn't know what hackers do.
Well, I don't think he's. Well, we saw that he can do other things besides hack. I just think hacking is like one of the many, kind of con man things that he can do. I think he's just more of like, he's shifty.
He's just like a little squirrely guy.
Well, I think he's more so a thief. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the main thing. I think he's more thief than again. He takes being the whole thing. Like we're giving joy, he's taking joy. I think he's more taker than fully a packer. He's not hurting anyone though. That's the
except that baby he took candy from.
He didn't hurt the baby though.
We didn't see what happened.
He had emotion.
he walked away and he had candy. He might have punched that baby.
Oh, Pergron.
We don't know. My head cannon.
You always go to punch in babies, don't you, Pergron?
we don't know. I'm just saying we can't prove he didn't.
Folks, don't let Pergron poison the well here.
Put it in the comments. Do you think Chris Evans punched that baby? Sound off in the comments.
Yeah.
Got your engagement up there, Dragon. You're welcome.
See Pergron's all about punching babies and being banned from the zoo. That's what Pergron's all about.
Making polar bear suits.
Yep. So he's just chasing polar bears with a sewing machine.
And punching babies.
So hey, come back. Oh wait, there's this baby my way. Whoppa.
I'm not sucking Santa. That was Kiernan Shipka.
Well, we saw
I'm sorry. This is going off the rails.
Yeah, this is you were getting this the PG-13 rating.
Yeah, this podcast is also PG-13.
Yep.
In the same way Guardians 3 was. It's a little pushing it.
All right, anyway. So I do, again, with the world building, though, again, credit where credit's due. The myth that, he's Santa's brother and the idea that Krampus is the reason for the naughty list.
Mm-hmm.
the idea that he basically, except from the sounds of things, he and what I love too, I love the delineation here. I love that Krampus does like Christmas, like his brother. He loves Christmas. He just goes about it in a very different way. He's trying to scare the kids straight. So like Krampus is thinking long term,
Hmm.
getting the kids to walk the straight and narrow for their own betterment. So he's not doing that. Krampus isn't evil. He looks evil, but he's not.
Yeah, he's just like an ugly guy.
Yeah, I mean, ugly is not a crime.
Yeah, watch Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Ugly people can be good too, believe it or not.
ugly people have feelings too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so again, yeah, he's scaring kids straight, and they love the same holidays, going about very different methods, and he basically the idea is he and his brother had very differing ideologies about the naughty and nice component.
Hmm.
Drove a wedge between them, and they kind of went to war a little bit over it, and they kind of struck a truce. And I want to say the truce is okay. We'll have a naughty section to the list, and we steer clear of each other. It seems to be the
Right.
truce.
We have a naughty secret, and also you are banished to the dark forest.
Yep.
You live in exile like Yoda. You will now remain there forever, and I will also give kids coal, which is lucrative in keeping some homes heated.
Well, there you go. It's a practical gift, I
Yeah.
guess. Yep. All right. So it is. I gotta admit, though, it is really a buy that Jack would be greedy and kind of stupid enough that he's going to take the gold coin. He says, "Listen, don't take anything." What is he, a boo from Aladdin? Like he's like,
Right.
"No, don't touch anything." He takes a little gold.
Yeah, you would have thought that, like, I don't know. I would have, if I was in the Rock's position. I'm the big beefy head of Santa security. I
You
would have
think very
ditched.
highly of yourself, don't you?
Well, I'm just saying, if I was in that position, you know, I probably would have dropped Chris Evans way earlier than that.
Yeah. Well, he really should have said, "Wait here" instead of "Come with me."
Yeah, like, stay here. This is a bad spot for you to be human.
Yeah.
Like, don't. You're gonna take something. I know you. I've read your file.
Mm-hmm.
You're a, what did they say? Stage 6
I
naughty
think
or
it's I
something.
figured it's stage 4 or 6, like a stage
Yeah.
4 naughty lister.
Like, I'm probably not going to bring you to the guy who made up the naughty list. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like just for saving Chris Evans' skin, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. Anyway, it is really nice though that he goes back for him. Like he basically deliver the message, and I'm going to keep the Rock here forever. Is it just keep him here against his will. But it's really nice that he goes back for him, and after basically kind of putting him in a position where he gets slapped around a lot, he does help him escape.
Yeah.
It is really
And,
funny seeing the giant hand on like the Rock's tiny head.
right. Yeah. The Rock's famously very small head.
Yeah. See, the Rock can never pull off a turtleneck.
No. Yeah. Rock's got no. He has all the neck and no neck at the same
Do you
time.
remember back in the day, like during the game? Do you remember the movie The Game Plan?
I do. I remember
You
that
remember when he was
movie.
like proportioned like a normal person?
I do.
And that's the thing. Here's the thing. After like the game, circa the game plan, that's where everyone was saying that guy should play Black Adam because that's when he had the hair and he's like, he looks like Black Adam.
Right. He was like the guy. He was the first wrestling actor of like the 2000s, I think.
Well, I mean, of the two, I mean, you have like Hulk Hogan before that, but
Yeah, but like of the new generation,
yeah,
of the John Cenas and
yeah, no,
Dave
absolutely,
Batistas, he was
yeah.
before
He was the
them.
first. He was before those two. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the least funny, in my opinion.
Well, he didn't really. That's the thing. Yeah, you're right. It's always weird that we put him in comedies where he had no business being in
Yeah,
those
he's
comedies. Like,
always
put him in the Tooth Fairy. It's The Rock, but he's the Tooth Fairy.
yeah.
It's here's
It
put him in Jumanji. Perfect fit though.
right. Yeah, put the Rock in the jungle where he belongs. He is clearly a jungle boy, and he loves it. He loves.
Here's the thing. The Rock. I really feel The Rock's. I think The Rock does have a comedy niche. Okay, he has it's his niche. It's that he's great in Jumanji playing against type. Here's the thing, when he plays against type, I think it really works out for him. He's doing that, and when he's paired with Kevin Hart, like in Central Intelligence, it's a great movie for The Rock.
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Like when he's paired with Kevin Hart, it works great.
Yeah, I think his niche is jungle. I mean, Rampage, not a great movie, but he was having a good time. Jumanji, he's good in those.
Yep.
Moana's kind of jungly in a way.
Well,
They have a jungle on the island.
uh,
Um, Not that he goes to it, but give The Rock tropical jungle feel. Jungle Cruise,
there you go. Yeah,
he was
he was
in
fine.
that.
Yeah, I thought he was good in Jungle
Yeah.
Cruise. Yeah. Yep.
So put The Rock in the jungle, not the North Pole, I think is the thesis.
Yep.
The Rock likes it warm.
Yeah. Anyway, so our villain plot. I will give kudos to our villain plot here. Okay, so aside from like just the kind of the really kind of flat performance there, I mean, honestly, the coolest thing about Gryla is the whole thing. If you say her name, she can see where you are. Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, like Beetlejuice rules, kind of.
Yeah. So the plot that she has is here's the thing. I like it to a point. I like it, but there's one glaring flaw in her plan. It's not really a flaw in her plan. It's the flaw in how we depict the plan.
Hmm.
So we use these snow globes. Apparently, Krampus had a snow globe that basically she's kind of like perfected. And they use the snow globe to trap the naughty people in there until they self-reflect and will set themselves free. Now the problem, that's a great plan for in the effort of rehabilitating people. The problem is that it really plays that she was like imprisoning him forever and she did not know that would happen.
Hmm.
Here's the thing: if she knew that was going to happen, that adds a layer of intrigue to this character. She doesn't want to like imprison people for against her will. She's genuinely trying to help. She's kind of Krampus to the next level. I will imprison people, but they can get out anytime they want if they stop being naughty, if they self-reflect. That's interesting, but that again doesn't complement that bland performance though.
Right. Also, it's really easy to get out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's not a villain in terms of a. But then again, it's so easy though. It's like, well, where are the stakes though? It's just like maybe unless the reveal is like the villain succeeds, but again, it does help the world. In fact, like we're all good now. It's like it took 1 year. It's like that end of that Family Guy Christmas episode. The two, the Road to the North Pole episode.
Yeah, it's almost like this movie should have been, the villain plot should have been, I'm going to get rid of naughty people by imprisoning them forever.
Yeah. What I was going with the Family Guy thing was the fact that we lost out on Christmas for a year, but it actually helped everyone.
Right, right.
Anyway,
Maybe, maybe that's good. Maybe we're taking your Christmas rights away. You can have them back if you're good.
yeah, everyone was so greedy and naughty. It was like Santa was on his deathbed. It wasn't cool.
Hmm.
So here, it just feels really shady that she like kind of drained. She was depleting Santa of his Christmas magic
Good,
against
good.
against his will.
Yeah, she certainly was doing that. In a big snow globe too. Like,
See, I'm just trying to have a nice wholesome conversation here. I'm stuck with this guy just undermining me at everything.
but yeah, she had a big thing for globes because she puts him in a big globe, and all the people are in big globes.
It's very thematic.
North Pole's kind of a big globe.
Yeah, no, that's true.
The Earth is a globe. Big globe movie. Should have had a scene with the Globetrotters.
You really don't have much to say about this movie at all, dude.
Not this part.
Okay. Okay, so we do have a nice father-son bonding moment again through the weird, like, why aren't you here? Well, you told me not to come. Aside from that, it was a scene where he instantly sacrificed himself to be with his son to help him through the stressful situation. And they have their breakthrough moment, the father-son kind of conversation, which I've been kind of I thought I was helping you, but I wasn't. And he apologizes, and they're out.
Yep, immediately, like really quickly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like my dad and I are on good terms, and I feel like we would have more to, before we get out of there. But
Well, yeah, but I mean, have you really wronged your father, or vice versa?
I don't think so.
Well, you might not be in there that long.
Maybe.
I mean, you'd probably be peeved at him or something. I don't think it's naughty.
Yeah.
It's just it's.
The hell, Dad? Why are we in snow globes?
Yeah, I mean,
what did you do?
It'd be enough to make anyone a little cranky,
Yeah, I'd be
Hey,
on the
what
top.
did you do?
Maybe not the naughty list, but I'd be on the grumpy list.
You gave Mom cash? What's wrong with you?
But yeah, yeah, it's cute. It's fine. I kind of like it was rushed, but it was fine. And then they're like, the kid's really cool with just like all of a sudden Santa's real and I'm in the North Pole.
Yeah, you think there'd be a little more of a reaction there, but
Yeah, it's just like not only is Santa real, I'm in a snow globe right now.
Also, I
I
think
feel like
action. Go on.
that's just like that's a lot for a kid to suddenly be in, you know?
It really felt like we didn't build like a practical snow globe. It felt like we were like, okay, kid, act like you. It felt like a green screen moment.
Yeah. They should
All
have
right.
put him in a real snow globe.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like the seriously though, just to genuinely feel like okay, you're like have a real reaction to it. It just feels like okay, you're a snow globe, so having this conversation, but instead of like like banging on the glass and everything.
Right. You can also hear each other perfectly.
Yeah,
Despite the fact there is glass between both of you, you can hear perfectly. It was nice
imagine
of Gryla to put a PA system.
imagine if it was that was the folly in her plan. If she'd never wanted to get out.
Right.
Imagine it would have been like a silent, like kind of conversation between father and son, like conveying it through the performance. Wouldn't that?
Oh, they have to fog up the glass to write letters in it.
Well, I was thinking more like maybe keep it simple, like a symbol, like "I'm sorry" or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Okay, so the third act battle, which by the way, I want to say it too, when he punched the rock by accident, he should have apologized.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Don't
Not,
punch
not, yeah, not, it didn't happen real. I'm just saying, like in the, like the Jack O'Malley character should have like said sorry, because he says like "ow" or something. Okay, so the third act battle. In hindsight, in the theater, I was thinking, man. Initially, I was thinking maybe we cut the whole giant CG, monster thing. Maybe here's the thing: I couldn't recall like we didn't see a monster in the trailer. We did see like a bit of a battle going on in the third act scene. Maybe I was misconstruing the chase from earlier in Santa's Village, which because we're on this kind of this bridge area and they look kind of similar.
No, that definitely was from the battle
Yeah,
in the
no, you're
trailer.
yeah.
I think we saw her tail.
Yeah, I
I
think we
think
might.
in the trailer.
Well, I'm just saying in the theater, I watched the trailer like that part of the trailer like once,
Uh
and
huh.
I was trying to not go back to it too much, and so I'm in the theater watching. It's like I wonder if maybe we circumvented that, and it's like nope, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it really feels like it could have stopped at the sled, but we see Gryla's true giant form we hyped up. It's a bit much.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, okay? I expected like for example, Tiki was dreading like the third act CG battle, and myself included. Like I was thinking, it sounds like we might have the typical thing that happens. We have a solid movie, and then like per the usually like a streaming Christmas movie, we have a solid movie here, and then we tack on like 20 minutes of runtime we don't need. Now, thankfully, we didn't tack on 20 minutes of runtime, but well, we kind of did, but we kind of didn't. We added the movie is longer than it probably should be.
Right. Yeah. It's like
This
what?
being an example of that, but this didn't go on. This didn't extend things too long, but it still is a scene we don't need.
Yeah. I feel like there were. I can't think of any specific. It's been a month since I've seen the movie, but I can't think of any specific scene I would have cut. But it's like what 2 hours and 20 minutes, something like that, right?
Well, no, it's not that long. It's like
Oh
two
no, it's
hours
two
and
hours and 3 minutes.
yeah.
It felt longer.
So I mean, look, 2 hours is not a bad runtime, but for a Christmas movie, though,
Yeah. It
hour
like
40 minutes is what you want with a Christmas movie.
yeah, hour 30, hour 40. Give
Hour
us our
30
elf.
is the pipe dream, but
Yeah, give us our elf and Christmas vacation runtime.
yeah.
Just breeze through that shit.
Anyway, so I mean, I like how we defeat Gryla. I like that Krampus shows up, and we seal her in her own snow globe. So sealing her in her own snow globe is a good idea. That was a good comeuppance for her, but I don't think we needed her to turn to a big CG monster to do that.
Nah, just seal her up and be like, hey, you have to repent. And it's really easy to repent, by the way. um, that's what Red 1 2 is going to be about.
Yeah, Red 12. All right, so I do love the bit where Santa and Krampus have like their little you have their little moment where, like, kind of like acknowledging each other, and it's like, hey, you want to stick around? It's like, nah, I'm gonna go.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we have our endings. Our ending's nice. Santa and Callum, they kind of they take Jack O'Malley and his son along for the big Christmas run, and instead of seeing all the gifts delivered, which I think in part I think we're all kind of ingrained to expect, we kind of end on, he's Callum has regained the Christmas spirit. He sees Jack as a kid who's like, he's kind of connecting with his son again.
Hmm.
And it's like the he's like Christmas spirit back in effect, and he chooses not to retire after all. It was a solid ending, I felt.
Yeah, it's exactly where the movie was going. It's what needed to be. I like the moment where it was the two kids, like where he saw Jack as a kid. I thought that was a fun moment, and it
Yeah.
harkened back to that opening scene because otherwise, I don't think that opening scene needed to exist,
Mm-hmm.
except to show who. Although I still think they could have done it without it. I still think it could have been like we would have known when they show a random kid, we would have known, but it at least made that kid's payday a little bigger.
Also, we should I want to throw this out there. Mark Evan Jackson was in that scene playing the uncle.
Hmm.
He's a good actor.
Yeah,
Brooklyn Nine-Nine and such.
yeah, he was in this movie for sure.
Really, no fun, Mark Evan Jackson.
No, he's fine. He did nothing in this movie.
Well, no, he did. I was saying, hey, look, there he is. I'm saying in terms of necessitating the
Oh
opening.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in terms of like, okay, well, there's
Yeah,
something there. I mean,
squeezed him in.
yeah.
It's always fun for a
It
little
was also him
cameo.
being a nice guy for a change. He's so
It
rarely
was.
is he's like almost never plays a nice guy.
You are correct.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's the movie. We end on a high note, a little kind of seasonal ending, and that's all you can really ask for.
Yeah, I liked the way they delivered the presents too. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
More little gadgets for you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I guess let's take a moment to thank the commenters that showed up. Of course, we had Jacob kind of trucking through with us there. We had,
Hmm. We had some
uh,
bots. That was
yeah,
fun.
yeah, those are definitely bots, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
That was from the off chance, we have Michelle Montilla and Daryl Gomez.
They found love. I'm happy for them.
We had K, JJK, HK, JH,
Bunch of
JK.
consonants.
Yeah, a bunch of, yeah. More importantly, we had Cookie S. Anime Fan. Actually was here.
Yeah. Hello.
So, yeah. Okay, so I want to thank you folks for tuning in. And also, I guess just to round things out, too, just kind of our final thoughts on things. So, overall, I mean, look, the bar isn't always high with a Christmas movie, and this was like the big new Christmas movie of this year, which we always get a bunch of those. Half of them are like forgettable Hallmark movies, the other half are movies that are usually destined for streaming. Which ultimately, this movie does feel like it would have performed so much better on streaming, which I guess we'll
Hmm.
find out tomorrow, which I suspect will be the truth. But so I think releasing theatrical really kind of doomed the movie instantly, even if it was really good. I think just no one's seen a Christmas movie these days.
Especially in early November.
Yeah, and it's like even if you release Klaus theatrically, I don't think people would have seen it. Sadly, I
No.
don't think they would have. And that again, it's not a reflection on Klaus. That's a reflection on just that's kind of where we're at now.
Yep.
But you know what? I mean, I love the glimmers that we got. I love Act One of this movie, and I love me some J.K. Simmons Santa Claus. At the very least, if I'm rewatching this or rewatching it afterwards, I would watch that mall scene.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, you got a nice little 15-minute short film.
Yes. And again, the movie. I think the movie was made. I want to say the movie's made with pure intentions, but the Rock's production company makes me think, he was made like, The Rock needs a Christmas project.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I would like to think purely it's like, what if we do like a cool take on Santa? And we ultimately did that, and that's what I would look for in a movie, and I kind of got that. I got I got at least a fun movie around the holidays. I don't think it's going to become a Christmas classic, but it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. It's on streaming, so if you have Prime, it's not the worst thing you could watch. Um, Especially if you have like older kids looking for something.
Yeah. Okay. So before we go, I'm going to peek beneath the wrapping paper at what's up next in our under the tree, and we'll tear here, a little peek there, and uh, we're speaking of red two, and I'm seeing a two here. It's twice. We've done this before, the first time, but not this one. Oh my God! It's a sequel to a Disney. It's a sequel to a Disney classic, to a Disney holiday classic. It seems like a sequel to Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, twice perhaps. Tune in next time and find out.
Ooh, I'm on the edge of my seat.
All right, folks, time to dash away, dash away, dash away all. But as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time.
For even more seasonal
Seasonal
shenanigans. Oh.
Shenanigans. Fa la la
La
la
la la
la
la
la
la
la
la
la
la la la.
la.